Yeah, this is Mr. Don Trip, and I just hopped off the porch with Dirty Glove Bastard. Shit. Yeah.
Top of the morning, I got to inform you, it's me bringing heat. This is not global warming. I must be crazy, my job.
All right, so we got our day one family member, Don Trip, back on Off the Porch, man.
True that. You right with the day one, man. We've been rocking quite some time.
Long
time. I can't remember,
man.
You know, y'all been rocking with me since people was calling me Don't Trip, so, you know, indeed.
Indeed, man. Yeah, we were joking when you walked in. Like, I lost count of how many times, you know, you've been on the porch. We were interviewing you before we even had a porch,
yeah,
too,
that's
man.
what I'm saying. You know, we was both figuring it out, so, you know.
Yeah.
You know, we definitely go back.
Nah, so I always appreciate you when you pull up, man. Keep that love coming.
Hey, man, you know, we rocking.
Yeah, man. So first off, how we feeling, Trip? How you feeling today, man?
Man, you know me. As long as I'm alive, I wouldn't dare complain, you know. It could probably be better, but it could definitely be worse. So.
Nah, very true, man.
Yeah.
Very true. So, first off, congrats, man. Saw you had the son earlier this year.
Oh,
man.
yeah, indeed. I appreciate that. That's number 8, technically, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, you know, so the vehicles get bigger, you know, from here.
Yeah, what you said, that they can't fit in no RAV4 or something,
no, they
right?
can't fit in a RAV4. I'm gonna need a Sprinter in a minute.
Nah, for real, man.
Yeah, buddy. It's different.
Yeah, man. So, Trip, you've been going crazy with the music this year.
Yeah, so far so good. We what's this, September? Yep. So 8 projects so far.
8 for 8 so far.
Yeah, you know, it's been a ride. I've been enjoying it, so.
Yeah.
You know.
Was that the plan when you came into the year? Was like, I'm gonna drop a project every month, or is that just kind of how it played out?
Man, it just happened. At the beginning of the year, I kind of changed the working format that I use. Because I used to do like 30 records and then pick like 15 records. And from doing that, we end up with so many leftover records that, you know, the records start to age on me. At least to me. So this go around, I just, you know, I wanted to create without consequence, so to speak. I just wanted to be able to make some music and release the music. So much music come out nowadays, you know, and it's coming out, you know, all day, every day. So I'm like, man, you know, it don't much make sense for me to sit and, you know, get 30 records together, pick 15 records, drop once a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, you know, somebody's dropping every other second. So, you know, I might as well exploit it. So I, you know, we got in the studio and I just threw all my rules out and I said, you know, come this day, you know, when it's the last day, the latest day I could turn music in. You know, once we get to that day, whatever we got, that's what we got.
Yeah.
And it worked the first month. In February, I'm like, you know, fuck it, go back at it and try it again. And here we are in September, so, you know, we're gonna see what happens.
Do you feel like you gotta finish out the year at this point then?
No, that's the great thing about it. I don't feel obligated to nothing. I just do what I feel like doing.
Yeah.
I mean, in real time, you know, it's gonna be, you know, you're gonna have fans that's gonna semi feel disappointed if I don't finish the year out. But at that same token, I gave them 8 projects, so, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I even saw like one fan on Twitter hit you up in, I think it was in March or April. He was like, "You ain't dropping this month?" And you're like, "Man, I just dropped like 3 projects already this year."
You know, somebody hit me recently, maybe about 2 days ago, and he was like, "What's the day?"
The 6th.
So yeah, it had to be maybe the 4th. And homie hit me, he like, "You behind?" I'm like, "Behind? No, you behind." He said, "So you not dropping this month?" I'm like, "Man, it was like we like 3 or 4 days in. Jesus, you know, I just dropped maybe a week ago. You ain't gonna give me a whole month?" I said, "Oh man, it's ridiculous." And he was like, "Man, I ain't." What'd he say? He said he wasn't being impatient. I'm like, man, that's exactly what you being. You know, you gonna hit me on this shit. We the first week of the month. Friday even came yet. You already asking me where my tape at. I'm like, Jesus. But that kind of stuff kind of keep it in perspective for me. That let me know that the last thing I want to do is be releasing music due to the demand. And, you know, if that make any sense. Because, you know, if I start doing that, then, you know, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to go crazy trying to make sure I can keep fans pleased. Because again, you know, I dropped not even a whole week ago when you already want another tape. You know, so if I dive too far into that or let that affect me too much, then you know, I'm gonna wind up doing for them and not doing for me.
No, absolutely.
So, at this point, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, it just kind of shows like where the fans are at these days, where like they just demand the music so quickly these days.
They at a buffet right now, and you know the music business used to be like reservations only.
Yeah.
And now it's, you know, full-fledged buffet. It's the all-you-can-eat buffet, and people, you know, they hiding cheesecake in their bag, like, you know, even when they full, they still want some more.
Yeah.
So, you know, with it being like that, like I said, those kind of comments keep it in perspective for me.
Nah.
Me to not be like, you know, I don't want to feel like I'm leaving the fans, you know, unsatisfied. But at the same token, you know, I don't want to go too far with it. Because like I said, you start doing that, man, that's it.
Yeah.
Ain't no way out of that. And that's the last thing I want.
And you got to keep the content fresh. It's like you don't want to be rapping about the same thing on every
Exactly.
album.
Well,
too.
not only that, but like, you know, some people assume that I got, like, all these records came out of vault. Like, you know, I just
these are all being recorded the month that you're dropping.
Right, these are all being recorded in real time. So with that, you know, it take some devotion. You know, I gotta shut off from the world and do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like I've been seeing people like suggest things for me to rap about, suggest names for my albums. And, you know, I read it, it's always funny to me because, you know, the last thing I'm gonna do is like, you know, like open a suggestion box. And, you know, you tell me what kind of ideas you want me to rap about. You know, much work that way.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's always funny. You know, it's crazy that, you know, the internet's come that far along that everybody kind of feel entitled to voice their opinion on certain things.
Yeah.
But, you know, for the most part, it's been fun. I've been enjoying it, and I'm gonna keep going for as long as it's fun.
No, keep going, man. And
Indeed.
one thing that I love, and I'm sure most of your fans love, is like your music is like an open book to you, man.
Yeah.
So it's like the more projects that you drop, and it's like I'm getting kind of like a deeper look into your life too.
True that.
Because you're rapping about some like very personal things on some of these projects.
Yeah,
too,
you
man.
know, the music always been near and dear to me. You know, the record that most people, you know, came to notice me from is Letter to My Son. And, you know, that was like, you know, that cut deep as anything I ever done. So, you know, I came in kind of, you know, exposing my heart, so to speak. And, you know, it's become who I am in a sense. So, you know, I just stick to it. And I feel like that's one thing that not many people can offer. And even if there's another artist that can offer this amount of honesty, you still can't offer my life. So, you know, what I have gets to remain a rare commodity.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask you about No Man's Land. So that was the last song on the last one. So you kind of open up about like your relationship with your mother right now.
Right.
Can you kind of just dive into that a little bit?
Well, you know, the relationship with mom is tricky. It's kind of always been, it's always been a little, it's always been on thin ice, so to speak. If you know, for avid fan, if you go back and you listen to records like, what is it, Hold Back Tears, or the Like Me record. A lot of people, you know, when they listen to Like Me, don't really hear what I'm saying, but you know, it's spots in that record where, you know, I'm touching on what's going on in my life in real time, and you know, I'm certain it gets overlooked because it don't sound realistic. But it's a line in Like Me who say, I want to say I did Like Me right after I had my son, I want to say. I'm not really sure. My timeline is horrible. But in Like Me, I say, you know, my mama's fucking my best friend and we both just finished school. Like, you know, I know that went over a lot of people's heads, but, you know, my real life was right there, it was present. And, you know, that, I said that to say that, you know, it's been a tricky relationship. And at some point it gets, straining. You know, you know, you kind of taught to be the, you know, the bigger person, you know, to turn the other cheek and all that kind of shit. But shit, at some point, both them cheeks get sore. And I don't know, you know, you kind of gotta let shit be what it is. And I'm not saying that to say like, you know, like I know how to cut people off. I know how to like disassociate or, you know, or remove myself from people. That ain't the space I want to be in with my mama, of course.
Yeah.
But we kind of at a space where me turning the other cheek is expected. And, you know, so we at a crossroad. I can't keep, you know, excusing certain behavior, and I can't keep being being an ATM or a punching bag. So, without saying too much, you know, into that.
Yeah.
But you know, that's where we at with it now, and I hate it, but you know, the trade-off, you know, is worse. And you know, at the end of the day, I gotta take care of me. I gotta function. I got a family to feed. I got kids to take care of. I got a wife to provide for. And you know, even my extended family, you know, I got a lot to you know, I'm responsible for a lot. I'm responsible for a lot of people. And you know, at some point I had to what they call it something now. I'm not sure what it's called. You know, when you gotta make sure you good. There's myself healing or something like that. I don't know what it's called, but you know, at some point I gotta take care of me. I can't help you if I'm on the ground too. Mm-hmm. And if the only person present that can help me is me, then I gotta help me before I can help you.
No, absolutely.
And, you know, that's in not so many words. That's the space we in.
Yeah. Is it therapeutic when you record songs like that? Like, does it kind of feel good to just kind of vent about the situation to a microphone?
Yeah, it does, because the microphone is the one thing that can't respond to me. You know, other than microphone feedback. We're doing this long enough to know how to prevent feedback.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's one of the things, you know, that's the one thing I can talk to that it's got no input. You know, you can't tell me I'm right or wrong. You can't tell me what I should do. You can't tell me a story where it can relate to what I'm going through or nothing. You know, it's the one thing that sits and listens. And, you know, once it's recorded, it become art then. So, you know, that's how I look at it. I look at every record like it's a painting. And sometimes people listen and get a little too involved in it. And, you know, I get it, I understand it. I still, I make sure there's a boundary present, of course. But again, you know, I treat it like it's art. You know, you look at it, and if you can relate, you can. If you can't, then you can't. Like that particular record got people in my inbox trying to, you know, give me, advice and, you know, become a therapist and shit. But, you know, I ain't in no need of, volunteer therapy and shit. So.
Yeah. On the cover for, what project was that? You was actually Shoulders of Giants. You were sitting with a therapist.
Right. Well, again, my music is, you know, it's therapeutic. And every project title has a meaning. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's a saying that people standing on a giant's shoulder, they can see further than the giant, and you know, they kind of lose perspective. You know, the giant put in a lot of work for you to be able to sit on his shoulder and see all the work you put in and the path he created for you. And I think a lot of times we get caught in that. You know, we kind of forget, especially in rap music, like, you know, new artists overlook the artists that came before them. Mm-hmm. And you can tell that in a lot of facets, because, you know, you can look at rap music and see, you know, you're gonna see a new artist complain. I don't mean like new artist like he's new to the scene, but, you know, every time you look up, you're gonna see another artist complain about having a bad record deal.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But, you know, this music business has existed forever, and rap music has existed forever. And we've seen bad record deal after bad record deal after bad record deal, and we've learned nothing. That's the point I was making. You know, we're standing on the giant's shoulders, and, you know, you're not looking at none of the footwork. you kind of skipped over that. All you see is where you get to start. You don't know, you didn't get to start there by by luck. Somebody had to put that work in. And same thing. I pay attention to everything that's going on. Rather, at the very least, it teaches me what not to do. So,
Yeah. Have you ever gone to therapy before, though?
No, I never. I've never sought therapy. I don't trust it. I mean, I'm not here to persuade anyone to do anything or to not do anything. I only speak from my own perspective. But I don't really trust other people with like my deepest, darkest secrets kind of shit. I'd rather take that to the grave.
Yeah.
What I feel comfortable releasing, I release in the music. Everything other than that, I take it how I go.
Yeah.
I be feeling like, it's a thin line between venting and complaining. And I ain't, like I said a second ago, I wouldn't dare complain.
Yeah. Going back to the labels, man, you got a line on Count on Me. You said, Puffy signed me to Bad Boy when I was Sack It Up. I think you said, I spent one session and I was out the back door.
Yeah, man.
True story?
Yeah, and true indeed. I wound up signing to Bad Boy because the situation with Cool and Dre, somehow they assumed that Puffy would be like he would be a impression on me. Like if Puffy was involved, I'd cooperate more. Because these are, I look up to Puffy, and although I do, it's to a certain extent. I don't think it's a person on the planet that could persuade me to do something I don't want to do. It just ain't gonna happen. But I was like, Puffy didn't directly sign me. They did a deal with Puffy and brought him in our deal. So I wound up signing the Bad Boy as well. Fortunately, as time progressed, I maneuvered a way out of the entire record deal. But man, we was in the, I went to, they suggested that I go get in the studio with French Montana. And when I got in the studio, French his sessions ain't nothing like how I operate. Like it was like 50 people in there, had to be 50 people. It was standing room only, and man, they was doing drugs. And I don't do drugs, man. I ain't, no shape, form. And they felt some kind of way when I turned it down. And I was out of bounds. I was solo first and foremost, but that's how I move around. And we in New York, and I get it, all the the New York politics, but I'm thinking we're going in to work. I ain't, this for the most part, that's the. Without the music, we got nothing, So I'm thinking we're going in to record some music. And, we went in, it was to listen to some music, and it was so many people in there, it became an uncomfortable setting for me. Again, I'm solo, and it's 50 people I never met before, or 49, I met French before. And, well, I guess 48, because I hadn't met, Chinks. I had met French and Chinks before. But the rest of the people I ain't know, and like I said, they was passing drugs around. They had women in there, and they had liquor. It was an environment that I don't create in, and more so a club atmosphere. And I was coming to work, and from that, that wasn't a comfortable setting for me. So literally, I hopped up and I dipped. I'm like, I ain't, I wanted people to trust my gut. Not to say, that they was on some weird shit, but just the drugs is weird enough for me. Cause again, I don't partake, and not to knock nobody. They do what they do. They grown, like they ain't had nothing to do with me. But that was the point. And that had nothing to do with me. Once I realized, once I found myself in a setting that don't that I don't agree with, I had to cut out. Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. If you feel like the vibes are off, it's just
right, and I felt like I was at a party, and I don't party.
Yeah,
especially
you're here to work.
Like that kind of party. It definitely don't get down. So I was like, man, I'm in the wrong place. We can link, some other time. And I ain't take it personal. I just knew, that wasn't the environment for me.
Yeah.
So I dipped, and then later on, I worked my way out of the deal. So that's what I meant when I see, when I spent that one session and I knew that was one of the kind of space I wanted to be in, as far as my recording environment. And then, that's where it was at. The name of their studio was Daddy's House. I didn't name it that, of course. But that's, that's my point. I spent one session in there and that ain't where I wanted to record. I from right there and I knew this ain't the place I want to record my music at. Mm-hmm. And nothing personal to French or Chinks is he passed since then, or Diddy wasn't in there, so I definitely want a shot at Diddy, but they was creating how they know how to create, and I create the way I know how to create, and that it didn't match. So
understood, man. On the song Rain Check, you say you don't owe anybody but Juicy J, man.
Man, Juicy J saved my life straight up. It was a point in time where, when that record deal didn't work out, I didn't know how I was gonna make it happen. I thought I was gonna have to go back to, back to the trap. And that's where I was at with it. It was even a moment where I was ready to crash out. I say that in the song. I don't know I can't, again, my memory ain't shit. But I say that in the record too. I was ready to go to Miami and do dumb shit. And, I sat with Juicy and I don't know, like he could peep my vibe, and from that, he just, he helped me find other avenues to get paid, and he showed me like genuine love. Like, I never been signed to Juicy J, and I don't really know how to explain it. Like it's a real. That's my big brother. That's my uncle. However you wanna run it, and it's got nothing to do with music. And I was in a point in my life where all the people that all the people that were looking out for me weren't really looking out for me. They was looking out for themselves. So to be in a space where Juicy could have signed me right then. I was in the most vulnerable space as an artist, and that ain't how he took it. He didn't take that approach. He really tried to. Well, ain't no try. Shit, he really helped me, figure it out and find my footing. And shit, I wouldn't have been able to take care of my kids. At least not legitimately. And that shit changed my life. Without that moment in time, I don't know where I would have been. Yeah. So, I owe it all to, I'm forever indebted to Juicy J.
What were the studio sessions like with him?
With Juicy?
Yeah.
Oh man, it was definitely a learning experience. A lot of, I come from like studying art, studying musicians or studying rappers for the most part, and the way I was taught to record and the way I discovered people really record ain't the same thing. Excuse me. So to be in a space with Juicy worked totally different than I work. At least then, I've adopted a few of his tactics since working with him. But one of the main things I learned from Juicy when it comes to like music, when it comes to recording, nothing's wrong with scrapping it and starting over. Nothing's wrong with revisiting a certain record or any record and tweaking it. Even if it's, like I said, even if it's erasing the whole shit and starting it over. I had never seen that until then. And he's a lot more creative than people give him credit. He's a lot more active too. Like, Juicy was in the, like I might have spent like a month in LA, Juicy was in the studio every day. And he had, like his album came out like the day before I got there. And he was still in the studio making new music. When I seen him, I was like, he's established. He got the space he's looking for. And he still want more. And to see that, it was inspiring for one. And it was a learning experience that let me know, even when you got it, just like, sports, when you win a championship, now you got to focus on next season.
Oh yeah.
Congratulations, you did pretty good this season. Shit don't mean shit. Start the next season. You're the what they call you, the former champs. And now it's time for a new champ, whether that's you or otherwise. And it's kind of how he produced music, not like produced beat wise. I mean like the producers and production. You get what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's how he worked. Like he never stopped. And when I seen that shit was inspiring, to say the least.
Yeah.
So I definitely took that with me. And, now I don't really, as you can see, now I have a pause button. We gonna keep going. We just dropped the tape, all right? We ain't gonna take no downtime and relax and shit. We gonna keep it going.
Yeah. You also had a dedication song to Gangsta Boo on the
indeed,
project. So
indeed.
Talk about that relationship.
Man, Gangsta Boo is one of the people. She kind of embraced me the same way, like the same way Juicy J embraced me. It wasn't one-sided. Like it wasn't for their benefit. Like they genuinely I don't know what it was. They just genuinely had love for me. And every time I ever seen Gangsta Boo, she was happy to see me. And it was mutual. And most people, most artists, when it's something like that, like when I first met Gangsta Boo, I was rising, and she didn't ask for a verse. It's like when people greet you, it's because they want something in return. Mm-hmm. And it was never that. She never showed. I can tell it was genuine. Whenever I seen her, she didn't have her hand out for nothing. So when it came to music, it's almost, it almost don't count to me, for people like that. If it's somebody that I hold near and dear, if you wanna record, or you want features and shit, that shit's off the books. We ain't gonna sit and do, you don't owe me shit for it. Mm-hmm. And Gangsta Boo, for the shit, at the very least, she a pioneer as well.
Oh, absolutely.
I grew up listening to, Juicy J, Gangsta Boo, the whole 3 6 Mafia. And, that Player Fly, Gangsta Black, and it's a very long list, Criminal Man, shit.
Yeah. Project Pat was on one of your first mixtapes, right?
That's what I'm saying. So, with that, I feel like I'm in this space because of that. I don't know where musically, I don't know how I would have turned out had I not had those influences. So to get to a space where my the people I look up to, the legends, become my peers. So, to get in that space, they still legends to me. And, a lot of times I feel like in rap music, more in rap music that I've never seen in any other genre of music. Like in rock and roll, like, the legends, I'm not super familiar with rock and roll music, but the new artists appreciate the legends. Mm-hmm. In rap music, it ain't the same thing. In rap music, they never stop with the, like, what have you done lately kind of thing. And in real time, like Bun B will forever be a legend to me. He don't gotta put a new record out. That ain't gonna change how I view Bun B. And even if, he can reach out and say he's doing a record just for fun. And nobody's gonna hear it but him and his kids. I don't give a shit. You send it to me, a verse is going on it. It is what it is. But that's because, it's a legend. That's the least I can do. It's like, I get to be a part of, of history, even if it's, you know what I'm saying? However big or small the song is don't really matter to me. It's the fact that I get to work with a person I admire, a person that, that taught me this game. Mm-hmm. And the same for Gangsta Boo. So when she passed, I don't know, I felt like she deserved, her flowers. And, regardless of regardless of the circumstances surrounding it, I still felt like, Gangsta Boo was responsible for a lot of musicians that spawned after her. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't even like I wasn't sitting and saying, I'm gonna do a record and dedicate it to Gangsta Boo. The beat came on, and just like every other song, what happened happened. Yeah. And and even in that record, I shout out
Le Chat.
Right, because like I said, that's how I felt. I felt like Gangsta Boo deserved her flowers before she passed. Yeah. And in that sense, the least I can do is make sure Chat know that, every time I see, I'm I'm a transparent person. So every time I ever seen Gangsta Boo, I told I made sure to express the admiration I had for her. Same with Lil Chat. And the fact that it was mutual, that's something that's something I value. And Chat knows how I rock with her. Well, at least she's heard it from me. I felt like saying it right then where everybody can hear it, I think that's a different sentiment, so to speak. Yeah. Like saying I love you to somebody, saying it one-on-one is one thing. Saying it out loud where everybody can hear it. Know. Right, that's a different thing. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted everybody to understand it. That that's she's that's a pioneer. She's a legend. Mm-hmm. She came before me, and that's the music I used to listen to, and that's an olive branch that I extend to all the legends. But the ones that I know personally, it's a different kind of, those are the ones that embrace me. And again, with 3 6, it's crazy because Juicy, Chat, Boo, Frazier Boy, and Project Pat, like those are the people that, the way they embrace me is different. Like you think I grew up with them. And it's a mutual respect. It's a mutual love, so to speak. And I wouldn't trade that shit for nothing. So when it popped in my head while listening to the beat, like I said, I just say what come to mind, and shit, that's what came to mind.
Nah, long live Lola, man.
Indeed, true that.
Yeah, let's talk about the tape with Piff, man.
Right.
So was this something you guys had already recorded together? Was these solo songs he had and you jumped on, or what was the process of putting this together?
Piff was one of them people that I think he was extremely talented. Piff just lacked the ambition, and it's easy. That's easy to. It's easy to understand in the music business for aspiring artists, because the money's not there immediately. Yeah. People assume it is, and they assume it will be. But that don't happen overnight. And Piff ain't had the patience to put the work in to get to that space. He'd get it going, and it started to be fun. And then when the obstacles, when it's time to do the hurdles, he was like, fuck this. And he would go back to what he knew. And I think it made it even more of a task because in his head, he was following in my footsteps. So, when he passed, he had a lot of music, and with that, I think the music was, it's like, it's art to me, of course. But I think it was so well crafted because I'm not on, in real time, I'm not on any of these records. They were all his own records. Most of them were unfinished. But he could be himself. Like he didn't have to compete on his songs. And a lot of times, I used to try to get Piff to put a verse on records and I could never get the verse. And, sometimes he say that, like, how I'm supposed to follow you. And I get it in the sense of, me being a competitive artist. But at the same token, it was my brother. I just wanted him to be involved. I couldn't get him to see it from that perspective. So I think that's why the music that that he left behind, I felt like that's why it had such depth to it. Cause I ain't on the records. So, he didn't do this record trying to keep up with me. He did this record because this what poured out. So, we took his hard drive and he got a shitload of records. It's just a lot of unfinished records. And like this day and age, they wouldn't even be unfinished records. You can put that record out.
Oh, you can drop some with one verse and 2 hooks.
Right, you can do that now. But, that was a space, that was an ideology that we practiced that, we was following unwritten rules that didn't exist. Like I said before, we thinking that that's how you had to do it. You had to have 3 verses and you had to be 3/16 and yada, yada, yada. Either way, I wanted to, me and Piff originally, when I started rapping at 11, I was rapping with my brother. All the way up until I was maybe 18, I was rapping with my brother. And then, you know, he grew interest in other things, and music just never really left from me. And even when, you know, the fact that he still recorded was, you know, was a great thing. I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't get him to be as devoted to it as I am. So, I had planned to take his music and, I had planned to take his music and create from it right after he passed, but it was too tough to do.
Yeah.
And shit, what is 2023 now? He passed in 2020. So 3 years later, I finally could, you know, sit with it. And we took the records that he had, and like I said, a lot of them unpolished, or they were unpolished and unfinished, and we just crafted around it. Like I said, I've been rapping with him shit my whole life, so it wasn't difficult to I guess to add my input to the music. And like the structure of the tape is thought out. Like, you know, I'm sure when people listen to it, they don't think that deep in it. But every record on that tape, Piff starts the song. Mm-hmm. But he started the song because, like I said, when he was alive, he was self-conscious about following me. So I made sure that this go around, it's not him following me, it's me following him. And I want to say all but one record, but even on that one record, you hear his voice first. You never, you know, none of the records are structured for me to be the first person you hear. And, you know, I did that by design, so, you know, it would be the one time that we grew up, we were a year apart, so for the most part, it was never really a point in life where he got to truly be the big brother. You know, just about everything he learned, we learned it together. So with that, I wanted to, you know, for once, this is, you know, that project, I couldn't lead it. There was no way for me to like make a song and then we gonna go and find a verse from him that fits in it.
Yeah.
That would have been extremely difficult to do. And two, like I said, you know, I felt like that was the least I can do out of respect. Like, you know, that's my big brother and, you know, my oldest brother. My older brother, I only got one. But either way, I wanted to, for once, you know, take his lead. And that's how it came about. And, you know, shit, it worked.
Yeah.
And he had so much music that even, you know, like I want to say, what was that, June? So July and August, both of those tapes got a feature from Piff as well. Because like I said, he had so much music, he just didn't get a chance to sit down and finish it. Well, sit down and polish it, and, you know, mix and master was a thing that, you know, he ain't value, so to speak. He ain't give two shits about it. And, you know, that's some shit that's extremely important in music, but he just wasn't devoted to the music as not as devoted as I wish he would have been. And now I get to show the world that, you know, he truly was talented.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's special to me.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the feedback from the fans, and they're loving it too. How does that make you feel to, you know, to see his music appreciated like that?
Well, it's bittersweet because I wish he was present to. I think if he would have been able to witness that response in you know, in real time, maybe that would have been enough to, you know, to light the fire behind him. And, you know, so that's the bitter part about it. The sweet part is the fact that, you know, you hear the art that I hear. You know, now it ain't secret art no more. You know, now the world get to see what I saw in him, and, you know, that's amazing to me. And he get to live forever now, cause, you know, it's shit. Once music get out there, you know, it lives forever. So now Piff gets to live forever, and, you know, it became almost like a token of memorabilia for my family. Because now, I mean, up until that point, we don't have, you know, we all aware that he made music, but none of us have a body of work from Piff. So, you know, we want to sit and feel like he's present. We had nothing, now we do. Now you know, if at the very least, it's a memento for my family. They get to, you know, go play the records from Piff and feel like Piff's right here in the room.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And you started closing out some of your songs with Word to Piff.
Well, of course, originally it was Long Live Piff. You know, it's still that too, but sometimes that don't really fit. I don't. The way I record, I don't do. There's no second track. All my shit's on one track. So, you know, the hook, the verse. If I fuck it up, whatever. All of that's on one track. So every time you've ever heard me say word to Piff or on Piff, it's still me shouting out Piff, of course. But in most instances, I don't have the either. It'd be too many words to say "Long live Piff," or you know, when you rap, some of those cadences take breathing control. So you know, it'd be impossible to squeeze out a "Long live Piff." It's a lot easier to just say "on Piff." Yeah. So you know.
I got you, man. Another artist you worked with a lot, Casino Jizzle, man.
Yeah, man, that was unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. Yeah.
Rest in peace to Casino Jizzle. He had he passed on the 4th of July, as a matter of fact. I was at my folks' house and they when I got the news, I had just spoke with him a few days before because he was putting a tape out that following Friday.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't really know all the details to that. I try not to go too close to it when it's stuff like that, because out of respect for for your family, I don't want to be the I don't know. I think it's a real thin line between being in the know and being and exploiting it, and that ain't what I want. I don't want to be, if they ain't told everybody what's going on or what happened, it ain't supposed to come from me. And at the same token, I don't want to, I ain't about to call your mama and ask your mama what happened. I know you got
it's
killed.
It's insensitive, yeah.
Exactly, and that's how I look at it. So I try not to go too far into that out of respect. But it was definitely unfortunate. I didn't enjoy hearing that news, not even the least bit. I think he was extremely talented.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think he was in the space where he was just meeting his the incline. He was about to go up from there. So another artist gone too soon.
Absolutely.
And he was cool peoples too. So.
Yeah, I had him on the porch. He was a man of very few words, but I'm sure that was more just the setting that we're in.
Well, that's what I mean. Like with him, he was adjusting. With this, sometimes when you're from the other part of life, music is fun. It's fun. It's entertaining, and it's a way out sometimes. But you kind of gotta, you gotta adjust to it. You from a space where you don't really want to talk too much, because there's such thing as talking too much. So you go out of that setting into a environment where you need to talk, you need to be open, at least a little, for the sake of a fan being able to dive in. And that's an adjustment, and I get it. And even with that, like we had a few conversations, I had to learn that myself. Fat Joe called me when I first started doing interviews. And he was like, man, you should watch your interviews, study them, and kind of look into it and see where you can improve. And watch it and see, would you enjoy watching this person do an interview? And I kind of started learning from there. And I was trying, kind of hip the same thing. Like, that was the advice that I gave him, the same advice Fat Joe gave me. Like, just watch it. And, I think that is how you find the enthusiasm to do the interview. Because in real time, nobody want to watch it if you feel, if it seems like you ain't really into it. But in real, he just was in the, he came, and in so many words, he still was there. He wasn't a millionaire. He wasn't multi-platinum. So, the success hadn't happened yet. So in real time, he still got to deal with, his everyday life. And then, he comes sit down and, that he hadn't reached that point where he could adjust to it fully. Yeah. And, I hate that I hate that more than everything, because I could see the potential.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always sad when an artist doesn't, get to stay around long enough to see their potential.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, like you say, it's a common thing, but that don't, you know, it still ain't a comfortable thing. So.
Yeah. You and Lito been dropping maybe every other project you throw them on there. So for fans that have been asking for Step Brothers 4, you could tell them, like, man, you probably got half a project right here on these.
Man, indeed. Well, when it comes to, like with these projects, the way I've been producing and releasing them, I be feeling, sometimes I feel it's inconsiderate to send Star a song and say, hey, I'm turning this tape in tomorrow. Right. So, you know, sometimes for the ones that, you know, that he not on, that's all it is, just timing conflict. But as far as Step Brothers 4, you know, we lining it up. We're trying to, you know, get it situated. We've been in this music business long enough to have experienced great things and you know, and terrible things. Mm-hmm. So with this project, we want to make sure that it's you know, we want to make sure it's done right, both sonically and business-wise. You know, we want to make sure we got it lined up to where it's. We don't want it to be bittersweet. We just want it to be sweet. So.
Yeah, and you guys are still doing shows together. You guys are still booked up.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you know, that's my brother. So you know, regardless, you know, when the microphone is off and unplugged, that's still my brother. So.
Yeah. What does it mean for you when fans hit you up and just let you know like how your music has helped them get through a certain bad point of their life? Or
yeah, man, that's the fruit of my label. Like that is those instances let me know that, you know, I'm on the right path. You know, with this, you know, it's a lot of turbulence from where I started and where I am, and to see that, you know, people appreciate my music for what it is. Like, you know, I'm not out trying to, you know, I ain't following no trends. I ain't making catchy music. I ain't, you know, rocking with this producer because he's popping, or running to get a feature from so-and-so because he's popping, or making this kind of music because it's popping. I'm staying true to me, and to see that so many people can relate to it, and that my, what I use as a medium of therapy, other people use as therapy. Mm-hmm. You know, and that shit, you know, I don't know no other way to put it other than it being the fruits of my label. Yeah. It's fulfilling, it's inspiring, it's encouraging, and, you know, I love it. This shit, you know, that's what I do it for.
Now, are you the type to ride around and listen to your own music, or?
No, I actually don't. That's why I don't know most of the lyrics to the shit, because in real time, you know, I record that shit, then I'm on to whatever the next shit is. Yeah. And then when we start booking shows, then I sit, and then I gotta ride around and listen to it, because I gotta learn it now. But, or like if I'm for to shoot a video, you know, I gotta learn it then. Yeah. But other than that, I don't really live with it long. I just, you know, I move on to the next thing. I don't want it to get old to me, and I don't know. I don't know. It's just one. You know, I guess it's just one of them things. I don't listen to rap music at all, though. So, you know, it ain't like, you know, I don't know. I don't really know how it happens. Somehow I'm more inspired by R&B music. I think R&B music is closer to the heart than rap music is. I listen to R&B music. You know, they not ashamed to say they're in love with whoever, or they miss whoever, or, you know.
They're more vulnerable.
They in pain, right. Yeah. And rap music, if you kill somebody over for the party, and, you know, I ain't always in that space. Yeah. I ain't never in the party space, but, you know, and then ain't no shot at people who party. You know, shit, I don't give a shit what you do with your time. My time is mine, and yours is yours. But, you know, after I record the music, I don't much listen to it until, you know, it's just time for me to listen to it. Yeah. For the most part, I can move on and start working on new music.
Yeah. You know, you've always been open about your relationship, or I should say lack of relationship with your pops.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned on Twitter that you just found out he had passed away.
Yeah. In a record, again, my timeline is horrible. And one of the records, I said he was dead to me if he ain't dead. I don't know. Well, at that moment, I didn't know.
Yeah, I think that was earlier this year on one of those records you dropped.
But I didn't know. I don't know him. I don't know what he looked like. So I couldn't tell you if he was alive or dead. So in that record, I'm saying, if he's not dead, he's dead to me. So when I got 2 sisters from my dad.
Okay.
So I met them in my 30s. So it's kind of been like, it's kind of, it's hard to be close because, it's a bond you're building. And, that kind of shit take time. But one of them reached out and, she was worried and she was like, nobody's heard from him. He haven't contacted whoever he would normally contact. And she was like, he's been missing. That's what she said. That was the word she used. She was like, he's been missing for about 3 weeks or something like that. And I was like, he's been missing for 38 years. That don't really, it didn't affect me. At the same token, I wanted to be supportive because, it's my sister. So, I didn't want to, I didn't want to make it about me. So, I just let her know, if you need something, even if you just want to vent, then, you can always call. Yeah. I ain't going to share my discomfort, while you're, because your bond with him and mine ain't the same thing. And that ain't your fault or my fault. So, I wouldn't hold that against you. But when she told me that later on, she told me he passed, and, they asked me about funeral and obituaries and shit. She actually asked me about that. She asked me, I guess the family reached out to her because they got I don't know any of them, like in real time. Like shit, he could be my cousin, I wouldn't know. But they reached out to her to reach out to me and asked me how I felt about like them mentioning me in the obituary and all that kind of shit. And in real time, I was like I told her, it don't really matter. I would never see it. I've never seen him, so it's gonna be a piece of paper I ain't ever gonna come across. It don't really matter what they say or do in it. But I said that because I can't remember what the tweet said, but I just thought it was ironic that I said that now. Shit, in real time he is dead. Yeah. I don't feel no kind of way. Don't make me sadder or happier or no kind of, I don't get no pleasure out of knowing he did. Again, it's a person I don't know, period. So other than being born, I don't know he exists. But I even have, I said a second ago, people be in my DMs, they be trying to, preach and be my counselor and shit. And somebody said that, they was like, I gotta forgive them and all that kind of crazy shit. Somebody else, that was actually a comment on one of the videos I posted. They was like, he's I can't remember how old they said I was. I want to say they said I was about 50. They said I'm about 50 and I'm still holding on, still holding a grudge. Mm-hmm. And in real time, when I read that, I was tripping. I'm like, who are you to tell me how long I could be affected by something? Mm-hmm. But that's something I don't think ever gonna leave. Every time I see my kids, I can't imagine how a man could abandon a child that he made. So I'll never respect it. I'll never appreciate it. I'll never forget it. So yeah, if that's holding a grudge, then so be it. Yeah. But that perspective, I think helped steer me in the direction as a father. Because I don't know how it feels to have one, but I know how I feel not to. And that's a feeling I will never allow my children to feel. Yeah. And again, when that comes to play, I deal with a lot of shit, and fatherhood ain't the easiest thing to do, especially when I got multiple, mothers. So that's the thing. I can never respect. I can never. I see things where I've seen people give my dad credit they don't deserve. So when I see that, I can't help but correct it. And for the most part, that's what the music is. Like, don't get it twisted. He ain't do shit. He didn't earn any accolade. Like, I never met him, but he was telling people, like, I would hear from random people. I met your dad. He was telling me all about you. There's no way he could tell you all about me. He don't know about me. He knows as much as you know, as much as the internet provides. That's all he know. Yeah. But same thing. I ain't into that. I'm not. That didn't sit well with me. You taking credit for shit you ain't do. That's like me sitting here telling you fucking Grizzlies. They had that successful season they had. It's because I was there. And no, it wasn't. It was their work. That shit had shit to do with me. I was just an observer, or fucking a spectator, so to speak. And same thing. So whenever I mention it, that's and I got the right to be hurt by it. Shit, it's my life, and I was the one that was abandoned. If for people that's been in the same situation that can forgive and forget, then I applaud you. But I ain't forgiving shit, I ain't forgetting shit. That's what, priests and shit for. That ain't my job, no shape, form, or fashion. I ain't letting it go, I ain't gonna pretend that shit ain't what it is. Ain't no such thing as a clean slate, shit. In the real world, you gotta go get it expunged and all that crazy shit, and it still ain't really gone. Yeah. So life worked the same way, whatever you done to me, you done it. You gonna have to live with it, you done it. And in this case, you're not living, so you don't have to live with it, but I have to live with it, so it is what it is.
Did he ever reach out to you and like try and offer an explanation, or?
No, but I don't think you can. I don't think, shit, what you gonna say? Hey, I made you, and you can use that typical shit that everybody else come up with the, your mama kept you from me shit. I had to deal with that myself. And you can use that argument, but once I turned 18, and you're familiar with who I am, you telling people Don Tripp is your son, not Chris Wallace. You telling people that Don Tripp is your son. I get it. If you could use whatever excuse you could come up with for when I was a child, but you don't get to use that when my mama can't interfere. Now what's your excuse?
No, that's very true.
And for me, ain't nothing my baby mamas could do that's gonna keep me out the mix. I'm gonna keep fighting. So I can't respect a person who ain't got it in them. It is what it is. And same way I know that I can't forgive it and nothing you can say is gonna excuse it. I know that same sentiment when it comes to my kids. If I didn't fight for them, how do I explain that to them later? Mm-hmm. Hey, now we're gonna create a father and child relationship when you're 25. No, I don't want to meet my kids when I meet my grandkids. That ain't how it's supposed to be. I created them. I'm supposed to be present. And any man that's not, I can't respect them. I don't give a fuck how they take it in no shape, form, or fashion. If any person that's viewing, if you fit that shoe, then I don't fuck with you.
No, I totally agree with that one, man.
Indeed.
It's like, you got to be here for these kids, man.
I mean, you made them, man. And if nothing more than that, you created that child. That's your responsibility. That child has to be here, and you're a man, right? If no man finds comfort in not being called a man. We all want to be called men. We want to be respected as men. We want to be treated like men. If that's what we want, then you got to act like one. And if you made that child, you're a man. Yeah. Now, might be a sorry excuse for one, but that's how I feel about that. You can't. I can't respect you as such if you don't take care of your kids. Yeah. And that I ain't saying like you got to be fucking super dad. There's no such things. You super dad to your kids if you present. Period.
Yeah, just got to make that effort.
Exactly.
At the very least.
You don't got to go and spend thousands of dollars or millions of dollars or however. I ain't here for that. I ain't here to like critique your parenting. That's to each his own. You gotta find what works. But you're supposed to be an active and present father. Once you make that child, that's what you are. Yeah. You gotta stand up to that shit. That is what it is. Same way if you don't pay your light bill, they gonna turn your lights off.
Yeah, for real.
You're gonna be in the dog. No matter how much you wanna be in the light, nigga, you in the dog. You pay your bills. That shit goes the same way. You made that child, you don't take care of that child. I don't think, if you ask me, you don't deserve to be, you don't deserve to walk this earth if you got kids and you ain't standing for them.
Yeah, very true, man. You had a line, I didn't write down the song, but you said your barber told you he's never seen you laugh.
Yeah, well, a lot of people say that they never seen me, but I think my barber told me never seen me like laugh on like camera kind of shit.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know that kind of shit. Like it's reserved. I don't do it on purpose. It's just I don't find shit funny most times. You know, I laugh when it's funny. If I find it, humorous, I'm human. But I don't, move around. I ain't in a I don't know, man. I don't really know how I could put that. I don't joke with strangers. I don't play with strangers. I'm not entertained by strangers, in a certain fashion. If this makes any sense. Like when I see, on the internet, everybody do pranks and shit now. Mm-hmm. I don't find none of that shit funny. Like none of it. Like a lot of it be, just be an invasion of space. And I don't know how I'll react to that kind of shit.
I don't think it would go well.
I don't think so either. But that's just how I am. I don't really know how to explain that. I ain't grow up in no space where you can be in people's face. The way I grew up, you leave people the fuck alone. You mind your business, you tend to your business. You treat people the way you want them to treat you. And I don't want you walking up playing with me. So I'm not playing with you. And no, I ain't grinning and giggling and all that extra shit, because again, ain't shit funny. And a lot of times what happens, like, we can be moving around, I can be with my people. And, it can be a stranger present or, somebody who's new, I don't know this person. It might be, it might just be the environment we in. And after so long, that person started to get comfortable enough to crack jokes. And then, shortly, I don't have to, I ain't gonna be abrasive and shit, snap out on you and all that shit. But after your second or third joke, when you look around and nobody is laughing at anything that you're saying or none of the shit you're doing, you soon realize, okay, they dead ass serious, and that space is reserved for me and my people. I can sit and crack jokes with my brothers. They can crack jokes with me, but like bro, I just met him. I ain't got no, I'm not here to make fun of him in no shape, form, or fashion. I don't know him. I don't know how he gonna take that. Shit, for all I know, people been making jokes his whole fucking life. And, I might be the one person that tip the scale. He ready to explode. But I don't fucking know. And I can say it's not my fault, but in real time it is. But I don't know him. Had I known him, I would have known, saying XYZ was a touchy subject. Or I knew, oh, bro, you went too far. But you don't know that because you don't know this person. And I feel the same way. People feel like they know me through my music. And that's already like a disadvantage. Because now, you're a complete stranger to me who feels like I'm a person that grew up with you. So you kind of cross the boundary immediately, when people walk all the way up to you. Man, hey, what's up, man? I want a picture, or I want you to listen to my song, all that kind of crazy shit. But in real time, I'm a complete stranger. Yeah. And you don't know what I'm on. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know how my day been. You don't know what I experienced, 5 steps before I even encountered you. You don't know what happened on the phone. You don't know anything that's going on in my world. And since I'm a celebrity, so to speak, they kind of disregard that. You wouldn't walk up to a complete stranger to do anything or say anything. But since this complete stranger has a familiar face, you kind of, you forget that. And that already is what it is. I had to deal with that, how it come. I don't think me being I'm always laughing and giggling and shit, I don't think that helps the situation. I think if anything, they give you the wrong impression. Because now you think I'm that guy. You think I'm the fun, outgoing person. So now you walk up, telling jokes. And you don't know you insulted me. Or you don't know you irritated the fuck out of me. So, I don't invite that space. And, I conduct myself the way I want, the way I want to be approached. I know that, you know, if I ain't serious, you ain't gonna take me serious. And I need you to take me serious. I'm dead ass serious. And even if I, you know, I might grin and chuckle, I'm still dead ass serious. And you know, that's why I ain't. And when I see it online, it just be gay to me. You know, I see men say, "Man, you don't ever smile." I ain't never looked at another man and expected a smile from him.
For real.
That just ain't, you know, ain't on my list of things to achieve. Oh man, I made the grown man smile. No, I'm cool. You know, I seen you, man. You know, when we move around, like, you know, if you in Target right now and you walk past another man that's buying shirts, why are you buying shirts? You don't say, "Hey, bro, why aren't you smiling?" No, you don't give a shit if he's smiling or not. That don't make your day. If he did walk past you smiling, you might be okay. What the fuck wrong with him? So in real time, when I see that, like, that people like, "Man, why you don't smile? Why you ain't smiling? Bro, smile. You a grown ass man, you asking me to smile. That's your request of all the things?" You know, that shit, you know, I get it. We in, you know, in the space now in the world.
That social media age, man.
Well, not only that, I get, you know, the gay shit is accepted. I get it. And, you know, if you're gay, then be gay. Be who you are. That is what it is. But, you know, I ain't. And, you know, you requesting a smile from me makes me uncomfortable. You know, it just ain't something I want to, you know, I want to read. And women don't ask me to smile, but men ask me to smile. So, you know, that shit, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't ask anybody to do anything that you don't want to do. If, you know, if I'm sitting with my wife and she's, you know, she's not smiling, me requesting a smile ain't gonna make her smile. Baby, why ain't you smiling? No, you know, if I want her to smile, I'm gonna have to make her smile. As far as men, I don't give two shits if you smile. I don't plan to make you smile. I have no aspirations of creating a smile on a man's face. So, you know, when I see that and you know, and men are requesting me to smile, you know, it's peculiar. I don't get it. Like, I couldn't, you know, even that, like, you know, when he was like you say, you know, my barber was like, you know, he never really seen me laugh. He seen me laugh in person, of course. Mm-hmm. He just mean, you know, in you know, media, you know, in that fashion. And the same thing, like I say, you know, I ain't, you know, I don't know. I can't tell you the last time I seen CP laugh. I don't got no fucking, I'm not keeping track of it. If he didn't laugh at all today, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't like, "Damn, bro, you ain't laughed all day. Damn, bro, when you gonna smile?" Like that shit just never, I don't know, I don't get it. That ain't one of the things I'm into. So when I see it, it always rubs me the wrong way. Like, man, we grown men, man. Fuck it matter to you.
Go focus on something else.
All right, why are you worried about that, man? Really? But, you know, all that kind of shit kind of be tripping me out. You know, again, I understand homosexuality is a common thing. I get it. I'm not here to shun people for being fruity. If that's what you like, that's what you like. I ain't got nothing to do with that. But that ain't what I like. So, you know, keep that to yourself, man. It be even like, you know, I see it be grown men come in, how I need a haircut, or I should do this. So you're going to please you, I need to get a haircut to make me more appealing to you. Yeah, that feels real manly right there. You know, this grown ass man is complaining that I got a beard. You know, all that kind of shit be weird to me. I'm like, man, you know, I understand that, you know, the internet makes you feel like you know a person, but in real time you don't. It'd be different, you know, if we rocking my brother like, "Hey, you know, you might need to get lined up." My brother can say that. But a complete stranger, that's a fucking man, chiming in on, you know, leaving comments under my shit. That should just be weird. You know, all of that kind of shit. I mean, when you scroll it's social media and you go past a picture of fucking carrot cake. When you scroll past a picture of carrot cake, if you don't like carrot cake, you don't leave a comment. You don't say, "Oh, fuck carrot cake. This shit is disgusting. Get this shit off the internet. Who the fuck baked this?" No, you don't give a shit, right? You keep scrolling. Mm-hmm. You see the carrot cake, that shit ain't even register. That shit ain't strike your interest, you keep scrolling. Yet when I don't strike your interest, you stop scrolling and start typing. I don't get it. I never, you know. So now I read the comments on my shit, and I kind of learn, like, that's my trick to it. Like, they start telling me about engagements and all that kind of crazy shit. And part of the engagements is, you know, having a conversation with people. So I picked the negative shit.
You picked the negative.
It's engagement, because you're going to keep responding to me.
Well, absolutely, because they just want attention at the end of the day.
Right, when I stop responding to you, you're going to keep going. Little do you know you're restricted. I'm the only person that can see what you're saying, but you're going to keep going. That's perfect. That's all the engagement I need. That go my daily dose of the engagements right there. He said whatever the fuck, you know, and for some reason, I only get negative comments from aspiring artists or people who want to be in the entertainment business.
They want your spot.
Right. They're the only people that have some sideways to say. Apparently everybody else that don't like it just keeps scrolling. But whenever I see it, you know, I check my comments and I see, you know, I always find one or two people that got the dumbest shit to say. He had to be young. He chimed in, he was like, man, the old niggas is washed up. It's a young nigga game, some crazy shit. And I was like, I don't know where that came from. What was the point of that? I'm sure you ain't just scrolling the internet to find older artists so you can tell them that shit. But either way, you know, when I see shit like that, I'm like, you know, that kind of shit don't even make sense. Then I read a comment. One guy told me the particular video I was saying, I say something about, you know, trying to inspire men not to give up. And somebody commented like, you not a gangster. I've been around you. Stop rapping about gangster shit. And I was like, what the fuck did you just hear that was gangster? Me telling a man not to give up on himself? Then, you know, two, you're a complete stranger. And you talking about, you know, he was saying they hung around me or some shit. And I look at their pages, all dogs. So I'm like, oh man, you know, that's pretty gangster. You gonna hide behind a bunch of dogs. And where I'm from, you know, gangsters don't do that. If you had something to say to me, since you hung around me, you would have said it to me. Mm-hmm. Not on the internet, not, you know, hiding behind another page. But, you know, when I see shit like that, that kind of shit just remind me that, you know, there is a true disconnect, real life and social media. Some
absolutely.
people really live in social media, even though it's not a real place. They got real estate there. And, you know, so I picked those kind of comments because I know you're gonna keep going. You're gonna keep chiming in. And if other people say something, that just make it even better. It don't matter what this argument is about. And you know, I don't do I don't respond with what they say, fight fire with fire. I don't fight the fire with fire. I fight the fire with a fire extinguisher. And then, you know, all the extra shit you're doing, you just, you know, the fire fizzling out, you know, you'll be all right. So whenever they say sideways shit, you know, I don't do the, you know, your mama this, or, you know, you a hoe and all that, or bitch, we gonna find you. We ain't doing all that. One guy said something on the internet, it was like, I'm reading it off of iPad, you've been doing it this long, you still reading off of iPad, you need to give up. And, you know, I Googled his name and it showed me pictures of Jordans. I'm like, I'm certain that you don't work for Air Jordan, so, you know, you're a person telling me to give up, and you know, your shit, you ain't even Googleable. That says a lot. But either way, you know, I find that those, you know, them, and it's entertaining to me sometimes, because, you know, their responses be ridiculous.
Oh, they get more and more outlandish.
Right, they get aggressive. You know, it went from you trying to belittle me as an artist to now now
they want to kill you.
Right. Right, you super gangster and shit, all kinds of crazy shit. I don't respond with all that shit, I ain't into that. And in real time, I know when they start going that far, it's a person I ain't ever gonna recognize in real life. Yeah. So you become a invisible threat for me. So I ain't in the sense, I'm not here to antagonize you. You're already on some dumb shit. So I doubt it takes much to antagonize you. Yeah. But you here, you commented, you've become the engagement. Thank you. You know, it's you know, I appreciate you. I appreciate you with your negative comment about how I should give up and stop and shit.
There it is, man. Trip, you working on anything else right now, or?
We working. I ain't got nothing. You know, I just do the shit as it go. I ain't really got no plan in that fashion. We don't got a quota or nothing to meet. I ain't signing no record label. I'm signed to myself, so. You know,
yeah, you made that joke. It's like, I got to check with my label to see if I can drop again.
People thought I was signed too. It was the funniest shit I had ever read. And they was like, man, they know they bullshit. They need to go and let you release. I'm like, yeah, they are bullshit. It's me that's the they. But you know, since I'm not signed to a record label, like, I don't know, I think I'm one of the few artists that's not signed to a record label, that's not seeking to sign to a record label. Like, you don't hear that in my music. You don't hear me saying, you know, the music industry, they blackball me or no goofy shit, or, you know, I don't mention the fact that I'm not signed. You know, I mention being independent in every aspect, not just the fact that I'm not a signed artist, but I am an independent person. But, you know, I got no aspirations of being signed to, you know, if and when something makes sense, then that's a whole nother thing. But I said that to say that I look at the benefits of that, not so much the, you know, I know I'm on radio. I don't got the money to spend for radio, but the people fuck with me, and my bills are paid. And I don't have a Lamborghini. I don't know where I would drive it, or how I would drive it, because I pick my kids up from school every day.
Yeah, you said you can't put 2 baby seats in a Bentley.
Right, and I can't put 2 kids in a Lamborghini or Ferrari, or, you know, even the Lamborghini truck don't really seat 3 people in the back. You know, you got all kinds of consoles and shit running through it. So, you know, if I had that kind of shit, I had to pick favorite kids. You know? I mean, in real time, you know, we driving the 2-seater Ferrari today. One, I can only drive it for a few hours, because eventually I gotta get my kids, whether it's just to take them to their mama or what, but I gotta get my kids, and that's plural. So, you know, hey, I'm gonna pull up to the school and pick one of them up at a time, and take them home, come double back.
Go back.
You know, today we get to ride in the Ferrari. It's all the driving I get to do in it. But being independent is it's a blessing as well. Like, you know, again, the flip side is I don't got like major label support, or, you know, major label dollars to play with. But on the flip side, it's my shit. If I make $10 today, I know where my $10 came from. If I don't make $10, I know why I didn't make $10. I'm my boss. I get to answer to myself. I get to do exactly what I want when I want to do it. Although I still have to do shit I don't want to do, of course, but I'm not being forced to do it. And I get to reap the benefits of my own label. Yeah. And I wouldn't trade that for nothing. Even if it was a label situation, at this point, I wouldn't be it wouldn't be like a fucking artist agreement. It had to be, you know, a joint venture in some sort. But, you know, since I'm independent, I ain't got, you know, like when it come to you know, I never really been into the numbers. So I don't view shit like most people view it, or most artists view it. For most artists, if you put a video out right now, if it don't do 1 million views, they're not even gonna mention this video. They gonna pretend this video don't exist no more, because it didn't do the numbers. You know, these ain't successful numbers to them. But to me, if my 1 million views came from 10 videos, it's still 1 million views to me. YouTube still gotta pay me for them 1 million views. I don't give a shit how many videos it took to get it. So that's how I look at all my shit. You know, I got all the material we got. I ain't on no timeline. I ain't on no deadline, I mean to say. I ain't no quota, ain't no expectation. I do what I want, when I want to do it, and, you know, I'm the one that benefits from it. Or, you know, vice versa. If I don't do anything, it's still me that got to deal with the consequences of it. And, you know, I enjoy that space more now than ever. My name's bigger now than it's ever been. And I think that's partially because, mostly because of me being present on social media. I don't really like social media.
Yeah, you're on TikTok now.
Right, you know, but, you know, again, like I said, you know, I still do things I don't want to do, but it's necessary.
Yeah, you see the benefits of it at least.
Right, you know, I see where it's going. It's almost like, you know, it's like working for a restaurant and you don't want to do the dishes. And, you know, it's part of the job, so be it. I gotta do what I gotta do. If that's where my check gonna come from, then that's what, you know, fuck it, let's do it. Let's put the gloves on and get to it. And, you know, I treat the social media the same way. I ain't really in tune with it, but I kind of enjoy that aspect of it too. I ain't so caught up in it, like, you know, when I came in, I wasn't on the fucking the shit, doing selfies and shit, or doing the fucking everything's content now. So I wasn't doing content videos, you know, I ain't out doing dumb shit just to get clout and shit. I don't ever want to be even remotely close to that space. So far so good.
Yeah. All right, Chip, before we get out of here, do you want to shout anyone out?
No, I don't like to do individual shout outs because you always leave somebody out when you do that. And then somebody gonna be upset with me for a week and I ain't never even gonna know. And, you know, I don't wanna go that far. I shout out Connect though, Connect Media. They've been fucking vital in this I don't know what you wanna call it, what I've been doing this year.
This campaign.
Yeah, this campaign, yeah, sure. They've been super, extremely fucking useful. It's a lot of shit. I'm accustomed to wearing all the hats and doing all the work, you know, doing it myself or having supervise all of the work. And I'm in a space now where I can trust the positions for other people. They do, you know, they hold it down, and that shit means something to me.
Yeah.
But other than that, I wouldn't particularly shout on people out.
All right, cool.
Top of the morning, I got to inform you, it's me bringing heat. This is not global warming.